Hi everyone, welcome back, and this is the AMD Ryzen 7 9800 X3D, of which I think you guys have seen more than enough content for it, and it certainly is a great CPU. However, I don't know about your condition in your side of the world, wherever you are watching this video. Thank you. Over here in Malaysia, the 9800 X3D is pretty much non-existent. In fact, I couldn't even ascertain the price because really you cannot even find it in the marketplace. And now even the 7800 X3D, the price has blown up to like some 10 to even 20%. It is really of a shortage condition. And if you are ever able to get the 9800 X3D, it is most likely at a high price and with a bundle of high-end motherboards. So definitely a costly option for your choice of CPU. The thing about this X3D CPUs over here in Malaysia, well, they are not the CPUs that are out of stock really fast. Over in the US, you guys have it at like 450 US. For Malaysians, we are paying about RM 2000 even for 7800 X3D. Now imagine, for 450 Malaysian ringgits, you could only get a Ryzen 5 5600. Therefore, while we are living with 5600, the other part of the world where your country is strong, you are getting for that price point an X3D CPU. So do appreciate your CPUs. We have it hard here, and even so, the X3D CPUs are almost always out of stock. Well, anyway, that's with the market stuff. So let's get on to the 9800 X3D based on my findings at least. So I like to make it clear that I did my test. However, there's some numbers that I feel like are off. However, I do not have the 4080 Super with me anymore, so I was unable to redo the test by the time I found out that the numbers seem a bit off. But it doesn't matter, just look at this chart over here. This is the one where the numbers seem generally okay, and over this one, that's where the numbers are generally off, with the 9800 X3D being a bit behind. So we'll just leave it as that and assume that it's a software issue, because let's go back to the benchmark where everything looks alright. You can see like games like Talos Principle 2 and Ghost Recon Breakpoint had unexpected results, which I think, like the other slide where there's a bunch of odd results, again, should be just a game issue, while the rest of the games are showing the 9800 X3D matching the 7800 X3D. I believe this is the limitation of the 4080 Super. Had I been using a 4090, then I think the 9800 X3D would have a performance lead, and there will be definitely going to be some gap. The result from Far Cry 6, you can see, that's the result that I'm expecting from the rest if I'm using a 4090. Now, I'm not doing productivity benchmarks because I know you guys and everyone else, we are buying the X3D CPU. It's primarily for gaming purpose. So just sticking to the FPS as expected, that's all good enough. Now let's talk about value. So the 9800 X3D is definitely higher priced than the 7800 X3D, and both are high priced, especially over here in Malaysian market. And if you look at social media like Facebook groups and wherever else, it's almost always the X3D CPUs are the ones being recommended 99% of the time, and out of those 99% of the time, no one actually bothered to ask what is the expectation of the person asking the question, which is very strange because you cannot just outright recommend the X3D CPUs, because even if you go with my benchmark, you can see that the non-X3D model works really well too when it comes to pushing frame rates depending on what you're expecting. So normally what people miss out, like what are the games that people are playing, what kind of monitor, the resolution and the refresh rate, which will indicate the target FPS, and with that, then only you can decide which CPU is for you, because it's not always the X3D CPUs being the best value. Sure, the X3D CPU is the one that pushes frame rate the best, assuming you're using a 4090 and you want to play at 1080p. However, if you are using anything less than a 4080 and your playing resolutions higher than 1080p, then clearly the the benefits of using the X3D CPU is much reduced. In some cases, it's none at all. So that's why when it comes to choosing a CPU, an X model or even a non-X model could actually be a better choice for you, where you can cut down the cost of your CPU and use that money for a better kit of memory or level up the GPU. Personally, my favorite are still like the Ryzen 5 7600, Ryzen 7 7700, and the Ryzen 9 7900. So, is the 9800 X3D a good or even a great CPU? Yes, for pushing frame rates, and yes, if the price is right. However, to me, 9800 X3D is the best at pushing frame rates, no doubt. However, best value for pushing frame rates, depending on what's your situation for the 98 X3D, the 7800 X3D could actually, and in most cases, in my opinion at least, the best value in fact, for pushing frame rates. So, do I recommend anyone to get the 9800 X3D? Yes, however, with the certain conditions. You're using a very high-end graphics card, and for some reason you are playing resolutions that are low, the 1080p, and you have the intention of hitting high frame rates. If those things are not part of your concern, do check out the benchmark from other reviewers, understand what is the target frame rate, and you know what? You could save yourself a lot of money by going for a slightly lower CPU, and then, like what I said earlier, allocate the funds that you have to get something else better for the other system. After all, you're building a PC, it's kind of RPG like that. You can reduce the stats some place to increase the stats on other place. Overall, once again, 9800 X3D is a great product. However, you should only consider it if you know what you want out of your system. Alright, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Do remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and bye bye.